Hi, Andy Biggs here from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. Thanks for joining me for the second of my multi-part series, just talking about the debt ceiling, structural deficits, and the Speaker's proposal that's currently on the table. So when we get sworn into Congress, we get sworn in to defend and honor the United States Constitution. And I've had people say to me, "Oh, Andy, you shouldn't hang on to the Constitution," but the reality is the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land. And it tells us what we can and cannot do. And just a quick aside, the Constitution was designed to limit government encroachment in American citizens' lives. That's what was done, to protect the rights of all citizens and limit the encroachment of the federal government in particular. And the states would be the laboratories of a constitutional republic. And that's what we have, except for we have the list of powers that the legislative branch has. So when you look to Article 1, that tells all of the enumerated powers, the things that we can do. And one of the things that's important is, and it's in Article 1, Section 8, and it is this clause right here. Under Section 8, it is the second clause here, but I'm going to read the first and second clause. Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. Number 2 is to borrow money on the credit of the United States. That's what the Constitution talks about. Now, why did they include that? Because the colonies that became the states, that became the United States of America, they incurred debts at the beginning in their formation, particularly with regard to the Revolutionary War. And so they had to pay debts. And most of the time, they avoided debt financing. They paid their bills as they came along and followed the Constitution. Well, we can raise money on the credit of the United States to pay our debts. So you saw a big thing happen in war. Whenever we have war, we incur a lot of debt, and we pay it off. The problem for us is our debt today, inflation adjusted, is greater than to fight World War II. So we're sitting at $31.4 trillion, and that's just our budget. That doesn't include any future encumbrances or obligations that we have. That's our debts to run our government, to pay our bills. So right now, that debt limit is $31.4 trillion. Right now, every month, we spend about $100 to $120 billion more than we actually bring in tax revenue. There are some months, like April, when people pay their taxes, and in the various quarterly tax months, that we do better. We actually, in some months, we get a surplus. So in April, we'll have a surplus, but we'll have deficits most of the rest of the months. So our constitutional obligation is to pay our debts, but quite frankly, I don't believe the founders, and I don't think our citizens would say, let's just keep incurring debt. Now, I have some friends across the aisle, they believe in modern monetary theory, and that basically says national debt is irrelevant. You can keep printing money. It will have no impact on inflation, yet it does. All of the money that we incurred during COVID, where we just sent more than $7 trillion into the economy without productive output, that is what has caused the inflationary pressure. It devalued our currency. That is why other nations around the world are actually looking at whether the dollar should continue to be the international currency of exchange. So we have a constitutional obligation because it impacts everything from our national security and our economy. In fact, numerous national security advisors from both parties have said our most serious existential threat is our national debt. And we have a duty to pay it off. That's what we should be doing. And we have the debt ceiling that we've bumped up against, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next video. Thank you.